Alpharetta and Roswell are so similar, and it can be hard to know which one is better for you if you're coming from out of state and you're not familiar with the two cities. So in this video, we're going to talk about the differences between Roswell and Alpharetta coming up right now. Hey, if you're thinking about moving to Atlanta or any of the cities around here, feel free to call or text me anytime. I'm so thankful for everyone who's reached out. Right now, let's get into the video. If you're not familiar with these two cities and you're coming from out of state, it can be hard to know what the differences are between Roswell and Alpharetta. They're both in Fulton County, so they have a lot of similarities. They're both a suburban kind of living. They both have the neighborhoods with the HOAs. And so there's a lot of similarities between these two. Both Alpharetta and Roswell are right off of Interstate 400. And so access to Atlanta is very similar for both cities. Alpharetta is a little bit north of Roswell, whereas Roswell is a little closer to the city of Atlanta, also closer to the cities like Sandy Springs or Marietta. Cost of living is certainly going to be higher in Alpharetta than in Roswell. Average home values in Roswell is going to be about $700, $750, and then in Roswell, average home values are going to be a little bit lower, closer to about $600. Besides average home values, the cost of living in these two cities is very similar. So when you're looking at how much it's going to cost to live in each of these cities, it's really just the home values, which is a very big factor, obviously. But other than that, things like transportation or healthcare or things like grocery bills or power bills, gas bills, those things are going to all really be the same in Alpharetta and Roswell. The biggest difference for cost of living is going to be the home values. As for the different types of homes in each of these cities, in my opinion, the homes in Alpharetta are a little bit newer, not much, but a little. And then really as for new construction, there's more new construction going on in Alpharetta than in Roswell. Some of the biggest differences between those two cities and the home styles lie in the outskirts of the cities. On the very southern part of Roswell, you're really a lot closer to cities like Sandy Springs or Dunwoody. Right around that area is also the Chattahoochee River, which has probably some influence in the style of homes and the kind of living in the southern part of Roswell. And then the northern part of Alpharetta is going to be closer to cities like Milton or Forsyth County. And so those parts of Alpharetta, the northern part, is going to be more rural. There's a lot more horse farms, a lot more country living, a lot more rural landscape in the northern part of Alpharetta. And so those are really some of the biggest differences in home styles between those two cities. As far as green space and parks and nature, in my opinion, Roswell definitely has the advantage there. In the southern part of Roswell is the Chattahoochee River, which provides lots of parks and green space for many of the residents of Roswell, and then also for the people who don't live in Roswell. And so obviously you can visit the Chattahoochee River no matter where you're from. Lots of swimming, boating, fishing there in the Chattahoochee River. They also have the Chattahoochee Nature Preserve in that part of Roswell, which my wife and I and our kids love going to. Super educational, great place to visit. And so Roswell definitely has a lot more nature than Alpharetta, in my opinion. Alpharetta has some, they have, their fair share of parks and green spaces here with like playgrounds, but it's not quite the same as Roswell. A lot of people want to know about the school districts, which is super important. Alpharetta's school district, I would say, is a little bit better than the Roswell school district. Not by much though. Alpharetta High School is a 9 out of 10 on greatschools.org, and Roswell High School is an 8 out of 10 on greatschools.org. Now, keep in mind that when you're looking at these kind of ratings on any website, greatschools.org or anywhere, really you need to remember that these ratings are very subjective. You can have a 7 or an 8 out of 10 school and have a student that goes there that may have a great experience because maybe they have a great teacher, and so it's not as bad as maybe that rating would indicate. And likewise, you can have a student that goes to a 10 out of 10 school and maybe have a poor experience, maybe because of a poor teacher or something. So while the difference in the ratings is a little bit better for Alpharetta for school district, it's very much a small difference, and really something to keep in mind if you're comparing the two school districts for Alpharetta and Roswell. As far as commercial spaces go, like restaurants and shops, they're both about the same. Really, both Alpharetta and Roswell are very much suburban living. So they both have the same amount of like grocery stores and things like that for people who live in those cities. But Alpharetta does have the Avalon, which is super popular, super well known, especially if you're watching my channel. We talk about the Avalon a lot. And that's really a great place to hang out, spend time. They have a ton of shops there, a ton of great restaurants. They have a Whole Foods in there, a Peloton store, the Apple store is there. Unfortunately, Roswell doesn't really have anything quite as popular as the Avalon. Now, keep in mind, home values around the Avalon are about $900,000 to $1.5 million. So home values, like I said earlier, are certainly higher in Alpharetta. But as far as commercial spaces go, they're similar for the two cities, but I would say they're better in Alpharetta. And then both Alpharetta and Roswell have a downtown area, which is becoming super popular among many of the cities around Georgia. To have this kind of central location in the city where people can come and spend time. However, Alpharetta's downtown area is very different than Roswell's downtown area. Alpharetta has that big green like lawn there in the middle of the downtown area. Not a whole lot of shops there, not a whole lot of restaurants, but they do have a few. And also it's off of a very busy road. So it's a great place to visit, great place to spend time, but it's not super easily walkable. It's not very accessible there. Whereas the downtown area in Roswell is a lot more accessible. It's a lot easier to walk the sidewalks there in downtown Roswell. They have just as many shops and restaurants there. And it's also a little more green. There's more trees, there's more nature there in the downtown part of Roswell. In my opinion, Roswell has the nicer downtown area, a lot more character, a lot more charm in the downtown part of Roswell. Also near downtown Roswell is the Vickery Creek Bridge. They also have a waterfall there. Vickery Creek is really only about 4 or 5 minutes from downtown Roswell. So you really have like the best of both worlds there, the downtown area and the nature. Great place to spend time downtown Roswell. Overall, my preference for these two cities is Roswell. They just have a lot more nature, a lot more character and charm in the city of Roswell because it's a little bit older than Alpharetta. Alpharetta is much newer, and really the commercial spaces and the homes there are not cookie cutter, but they are, very similar all around. Like most of Alpharetta looks very similar. Whereas Roswell, the city has a lot more character in each of the different parts, in each of the different homes. And so because of that, in my opinion, I think Roswell is a little bit better. Another city that's super similar to Alpharetta and Roswell is Marietta. If you want to know the differences between Marietta and Alpharetta, check out this video. See you there.